So first start. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce a dynamic leader in our Lions organization, PID Nicolin Carol Moore from Trinidad and Tobago.
You're muted.
You're on mute.
Thank you, Pablo. Lions, Leos, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Melissa Amante. Now, you met Melissa a while ago. She was the host at the start of the forum, and I know you saw how cool and composed she was. And I want to share with you now the reasons why she's so composed. Because when you hear her bio, you will see that she has taken opportunities for experiences. Melissa Amante from Somers, New York, serves as the USA representative on the USA-Canada Leo Leadership Advisory Council. She has been an active Leo since 2017, having joined as a 13-year-old. She continued to serve 4 years through her high school Leo Club, and she plans to continue in college. As a part of the Leo program, she served in a number of club and district leadership roles. As a sophomore, she held the sophomore representative position at her club and as treasurer of MD20. As a junior, she served as the New York District R president and the vice president of her club. This was also her first year as the USA's representative on the Leo Forum Advisory Council. As a senior, she continued with her position on the council. She held the position of MD20 president, and she was the president of Somers Leo's Club. Throughout the past 3 years, Melissa has developed a special interest in Special Olympics and Adopt a Family. Along with her club, she raises money for and participates in the Polar Plunge every year to support Special Olympics. Additionally, she organizes the Adopt a Family program for her club every year. Melissa also enjoys arts and sciences.
Oh, you're muted again.
Okay. Melissa enjoys arts and sciences. She enjoys studying genetics and working on art pieces. She will study biochemistry in college, and she's excited to continue her activity in Leos and eventually in Lions. Leos, it is my pleasure to introduce to you, to hand over to you now, Leo Melissa Amante. Do enjoy the presentation. She's going to speak on the benefits of being a Leo. Melissa.
Thank you so much, Lion Nicolin. All right, everyone, I'm going to share my screen now. So if you have any questions during the PowerPoint, or if you'd like to answer one of the questions I asked during the PowerPoint, no need to raise your hand or anything. Just unmute yourself and call out, and we'll go from there. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the benefits of being a Leo. As you are all Leos, I'm sure you know some of the benefits right off the top of your head. But I think that looking back on my 4 years in Leos, I've this new ability to kind of sum up what I've learned and how I've benefited from my years in this club. So I'd like to split it up into short-term and long-term benefits. The short-term benefits I see are being impacts on an individual, self-satisfaction, and helping your community. While I label the long-term benefits as connections with your peers, additions to your resume, inspiring the younger generation, and seeing your impact on individuals and your community. So let's start with the short-term benefits. First one is the easiest to understand. Impacts on individuals and self-satisfaction. This is when you do some service. For example, if you're running a food drive, you give people that need the food a bag of canned goods. And you can see their reaction automatically. You can see how you made their life better, how you put positivity into their life. And that involves a lot of self-satisfaction, fulfilling this piece of your mind that wants to help other people and wants to see other people be happy. And that's a very direct benefit. You do something nice, you see how your nice action has affected someone else, that makes them happy, and in response, you feel happy. Sometimes these actions seem a little irrelevant. I know one of my favorite events was face painting at a elementary school carnival, and for me it was, 5 minutes out of my day to paint a butterfly on a young girl's face, but then I'd see her running around the room showing all her friends her face paint, telling everyone how much she loved it. So I put happiness and positivity into her life, even though for me it really didn't take a lot out of me. 5 minutes and a little bit of painting. Not a lot of work on my end, but it really helped other people. And that's something I think is a theme in community service, that we kind of take our actions and how much time and how much effort we put into the community service for granted. We think that, okay, well, yeah, but I'm not actually doing that much work. But in reality, even if you're just having a lazy day and you go to an event and don't put in 100% effort, you're still helping people. And yes, it is better to always give 110% effort, but we don't always have that in us. So being there, showing up, putting in even the smallest bit of effort is better than nothing at all. So I'd like to ask you all if you have ever seen how your community service directly benefits someone. You've had that direct reaction of, I helped someone, I saw their reaction, and it made me happy.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I was busy writing down what you were saying.
The question is if you've ever seen how your community service directly benefited someone. That direct, I did an action and I saw someone receive benefit from my action, and I am happy because I saw someone receive benefit in that short amount of time.
Yes, I have seen it. We had a Senior Citizens Day once, and I clearly saw the elderly have fun when I helped them out with like moving them to a seat or then giving them food. It was like a beautiful experience, and I really loved the day we had it.
That's a great example. I feel like you either working with elderly people or young kids, that's kind of a guaranteed experience you're going to have of seeing how you directly benefit people in just sort of an extreme way than if you're doing a general form of community service. Does anyone else have an experience they'd like to share?
Hi. So an experience I would like to share is there was a project we did prior to COVID. It was a back to school fresh and cool, and our club decided to give hairstyles and haircuts, teamed up with another organization to give them backpacks. And we would comb the girls' hair, and we saw that just that little act of kind, just by giving the little girls a nice hairstyle to go to the first day of school with, change their attitude and look for the first day of school. And it was such a nice feeling to see happy smiles and happy faces when they got their little backpacks and they got their hair done and they had loved the outcome. And it was truly a great experience to do that, so that they can at least feel confident on the first day of school. And that's one of the things I would like to share, that what we did before. And also greeting students when the first day of school. That was a nice thing too.
Thank you for sharing. That sounds like an amazing activity. That seems amazing. Such a great way to help out younger kids. Does anyone else have an experience they'd like to share?
Yeah, I do. So we did a project called Give Hope, Receive Love, where we went out into the city and we basically split up into groups, and we had a bunch of roses, and we gave them to a bunch of random people on the street, and seeing that their reaction to a rose was pretty nice. They really appreciated that, especially the sore throats.
Thank you for sharing. That's just another great activity. That's just something that makes people smile, and so great. Does anyone else have an experience they'd like to share? All right, I'm going to move on to the next slide now. Next slide is help your community. This might seem a little redundant, but I mean something different with this than having that direct benefit. Helping your community is more of an overall benefit. Instead of helping an individual and seeing how their reaction is to receiving your community service, you can't always see the effect of how you help your community, which is why I included this picture up here, which is a picture of the packings I did from one of my years for Adopt a Family. For those of you who don't know, Adopt a Family is an organization where you receive a list of goods the family needs around Christmas time, and you buy this Christmas list for them. So often the family has kids and they can't afford to buy their kids Christmas gifts, and you will buy everything on the list for them. A lot of times, though, these lists actually include things like warm clothes and bedding and things that we'd consider generally used and needed things that you wouldn't question. They're needs instead of wants, which is not really what you're usually thinking about when you think Christmas list in a generic sense. But this is one of my favorite events because it first gives you the chance to just really experience the creativity that comes along with volunteering. While the list might say that they need a comforter, and buying a comforter is a pretty generic purchase, their list will also say, can you please get my kid some gifts that involve unicorns? She loves unicorns. And to have that the opportunity to just go to the store and shop around and figure out, what can I do with this? I've got this little bit of information and I get to turn it into actual objects that was going to make someone's Christmas even better. And it's just a sense of creativity that I really love and like to explore in community service in general. Also, Adopt a Family is a good example of helping your community because you can't always see how you help your community. You clean up a roadway as a volunteer project, but you can't see the people that are so much happier driving to work because they don't have to look at garbage on the side of the road. You just have to know and have faith in your community service that you're benefiting people and people are enjoying their days just a little bit more, just being a little bit happier because of what you did. And Adopt a Family is similar to that because you cannot see the family's reaction. It's an anonymous event. You buy the gifts, you drop them off at a location, and after you drop them off at the location, the family picks them up a couple hours later. So it's one of those events where I just have to trust the process. I have to trust that I got everything on the list, that I explored my creative side and bought the right things that their kids are going to enjoy, and just know that my community service is helping this family, even though I'm not able to directly see their reaction. I also like to bring up on this slide the idea that when you volunteer for someone, you're not only helping the person that's receiving your volunteering, you're also helping the other volunteers, which sounds confusing when I start, but let me explain. Let's say you are doing a Special Olympics event, which is what the cake picture is down here from an event. And you are going and you're just helping out Special Olympians for the day, coordinating their events, helping them socialize, and really any way you can. The obvious people receiving that benefit are the Special Olympians. They're enjoying the socializing you're giving them. They're enjoying the events you've planned and all the work you're organizing and running. But the people that you might not necessarily be thinking about benefiting are the Special Olympians' parents, guardians, caretakers, teachers, and all of the people that support them on a day-to-day basis that are very often, have a lot of work that goes into supporting them on a day-to-day basis. And you're giving them that little bit of ease, a little bit of a break to step back and just watch their kids or their students or whatever the relationship is to the Special Olympian enjoy their day. And they can also enjoy their day. So I like to think this as like the background benefit. The foreground benefit is the person you're benefiting. You can directly see their response and how you're helping them. Well, the background benefit is the people that are benefiting from your benefiting. So it's a little hard to understand when you put it into words, but all my Leos out there have definitely experienced this before. So I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Now onto the long-term benefits. First off, and a great representation of the forum, is connections with peers. I wish that this forum was in person, because the in-person forums are just so much fun, but we will still achieve all of our connections with each other over Zoom. And we've gotten really good at that over the past year and a half. But the forum and just Leo's Club in general is an amazing way to make connections with your peers. And these connections are lifelong. That's one of my favorite things, is that when you have a connection that's drawn from this similar interest in helping people, it's not a friendship that requires maintenance and checking in and making small talk. It's a friendship where you can not talk for months or go to the forum and then only text for a year without actually talking to each other, go to the next forum and pick up right where you left off, because we can make such a close connection out of this shared passion. So I'd like to know if you guys have any thoughts on what are some benefits we can receive from the connections we have with our peers. Feel free to unmute.
We could gain, like, from their experiences, we can gain advice on how we could make our events better, or like just learn from how they did something and then how we can also improve on that. And yeah, I'm trying to think about it. Like, mostly I just thought of as what they have gone through and then how they could have planned I would say a project, and you wanted to do something similar, and they can give you advice on how they did it, and then you have an idea of how you can make it similar, or you can make it better, or your own version of it.
That's a great example, and that's something that we always try to focus on in the forum is, and we'll do this within the next couple of days, is having these focus group sessions where you just talk to other Leos, talk about challenges you've had in your club, or where you are drawing a blank on what your next activity should be, and you get ideas from all the other Leos here. And it's just an experience that you can't have in any other group of sharing those ideas. Does anyone else have a benefit they'd like to share of connections with peers? Okay, so I'll let you know what some of my thoughts are. First things I thought of were that connections with peers can help you with traveling anywhere you go, especially when you've made friends with Leos across the world, like you can take out the chance to do during the forum, is you have an automatic friend. You have an automatic friendly face wherever you travel, or if you're moved for a job or a change of location in general. You can also have future job and college connections. So networking is a very, very big deal when it comes to college, job search, really just finding professional opportunities. And Leos is a great way to make those networking connections, both with fellow Leos and with Lions. And it's such an easy way because you have these people who understand how much you love community service, who understand that you have the leadership skills and know all that you're capable of. And this is a great way to make yourself a more appealing candidate for colleges and for future jobs. And really, and if you ever find a Lion that breaks this rule, please let me know, because after all these years, I have not found a Lion that is not more than willing to talk to me about their job or write me a letter of rec. Even if I haven't done an event with them in months, all I have to do is send an email, and they've always got my back. So if you ever find someone in Leos or Lions that doesn't have your back like that, you're gonna have to let me know, because I've yet to find anyone. Another big benefit from these connections is becoming an Omega Leo or Lion. So as you continue into different levels of Leos and Lions, you may find yourself wanting to either become an Omega Leo or a Lion or a Leo Lion. There's a lot of options out there. And sometimes that can be a little scary, because you spend years in your Leos club making connections with people that you just really feel comfortable with, have become so friendly with. So when you move on to different clubs and different organizations, it's helpful to have these pre-made connections with people that are already up there, so that you have a friendly face no matter where you go. This next slide is one that people tend to tell me I should leave out because they don't think that having Leos as an addition to your resume should be a motivation for joining the club. But I feel like as Leos in general, we're all in this together and we all need to do everything we can to understand and help each other. So if we're being completely honest, a lot of us do join because it will help our college resume. And personally, that's why I joined. I was in 9th grade, I was 14 years old. I had just started high school and seemed like a great club to put on my resume. And I didn't know anything about the club at all. Only reason I joined was because I thought it would help me in college. Which is why I like to say that it's not why you join Leo's Club that matters, it's why you stay. Because if I had stuck with college resume building being my only reason for being in Leo's Club, I never would have got this far. And I never would have got this much out of being in the club. Instead, I found so much love for community service, for my peers, for leadership, networking, public speaking, all these aspects that make us Leos. And I was able to move up through Leos and hold different positions and learn so much more about networking and public speaking and so many aspects of what makes people great leaders. And yes, I am still getting the benefit of adding it to my college resume, but I'm also getting so much more out of it and so many more life skills and connections that I'll never lose. And I think that as long as you guys understand that community service is why we're all here, just enjoying it and loving community service in a way that not everyone understands is an ultimate connecting factor between Leos, then there is no reason not to enjoy the benefit of putting this on your resume. All the time and dedication you put to this club should be recognized and it should be celebrated. And that's an easy way to do it is by using it to your advantage when it comes to getting into very challenging schools or getting a selective job or anything that you're looking forward to in the future. The next one I want to talk about is inspiring the younger generation. So this first comes up for me when I talk about adoptive family because I always like to include younger Leos when I do my adoptive family shopping. I find that they always get really inspired, they pick out really great gifts, and just understand the creativity part of adoptive family. This is also a picture of another event that really inspired my love for inspiring the younger generation when it comes to Leos. This is an event called the SIS Birthday Party, which is an event my club throws at the elementary school around Halloween time. Bunch of games, different activities, workshops, and there's also a haunted house. So the Leos are usually there to sell raffle tickets, sell food, and just take tickets, run the games, pretty just holding positions of being the organizers of the event. But these girls showed up to the event fully dressed in costumes they made themselves, masks that they brought themselves to work in the haunted house. And it was just so exciting for me to see them because they were 9th graders at the time. This is October because Halloween time. So they had joined the club about a month ago and were just so dedicated already. And it was just very inspiring for me to see that these young girls have already experienced the love they have for community service and just learning to have fun with it and enjoying themselves. So even if it's not always easy to see how you're affecting younger Leos, especially if you're in a smaller club, I think that anyone can see that they're affecting young people in some way or another. Even if it's just a younger sibling who is hearing you talk about all the Leos events you're going to, and now you're inspiring them to one day join Leos. So does anyone here have younger siblings that they've inspired in some way or another with their Leos work?
I'm the younger sibling, so yeah, I don't have one.
Sorry.
It's fine. You can go now.
Oh, okay. Well, I plan to. They're a bit too young to do it now, but I hope to.
It's great. Yeah, I just think that that's a big benefit of Leos that kind of gets overlooked because we're so focused on the people that we're actually volunteering for and actually helping with community service that we lose sight of the people that are watching us do this and that are becoming influenced by this. It's also important to remember that you are being watched by the younger generation. They're watching the decisions you make and the outcomes of those decisions. So you always want to set a good example, especially in volunteering, and just make sure that you're putting them on the right path. So does anyone have any stories about how they've seen how they influence youth through their community service? Anyone want to just unmute?
Can you repeat what you said?
The question is if you have any stories about how you've seen how your community service has affected people younger than you who might be following your path.
Well, I can speak on, I had an opportunity to speak to a 6th grade class, and I inspired them to that, as you said, I have encouraged them to try and join the alphas when they go into high school, and it inspired them to realize that community service is not only about serving your community, but it's also self-growth and self-experience, and it really inspired them to realize that there's more out there than just the usual thing you will do, and it can open your eyes, especially in our community here in the Caribbean, to that there's people that will literally, you will never know are having issues or need help until you're at that particular spot in your life or in that particular organization where you are actually giving back to them. And it lead them to want to know more about the Leos when I spoke to them. And it was great to inspire them that while I work and study, I'm still able to give back to my community. And it was great for them to be inspired by that, by telling them why I do what I do, why did I become a Leo, and why do I want to serve my community?
Thank you for sharing. It's actually really great that you go and talk to younger students, and I wish that's something I would love to implement in my club of going to visit the middle school and inspiring people to join Leos so that the second they get to high school, they can jump right in without any hesitation. Is there anyone else that would like to share a story? No? All right, I'll move on to the next slide then. Next slide is seeing your impact on individuals and community. And I know this overlaps with what I said for being a short-term benefit, but there's the short-term benefits of impacting your community and there's the long-term benefits. The short-term are when you know, even in the case of adoptive family, I know I keep going back to that. Yes, I can't see their reaction. So it's not that direct, I see them happy, I'm happy because I see them happy. But I know that within hours of me dropping off the donations, they're going to pick it up and they're going to benefit from that. The long-term benefits are more something that are going to take time that you have to just trust the process with. And that's why I included the picture on this slide of me and some of my friends presenting a project at the UN to raise money to support women who survive domestic violence or are stuck in domestic violence situations. This is an event where with the money, we would be able to help women, but it would be more of a long-term process. It would include things like providing self-defense classes, raising money for women's shelters, and providing child support options. And yes, eventually there would be direct benefits from that, people that automatically see how they've benefited from this activity. But at the time you're presenting it, trying to get the funding, you don't see those short-term benefits. It's a little hard to see, okay, I will give this person a childcare option for the weekdays so they can go to work and they're going to benefit from that. It's not as easy to see when you're planning something major. And so any big events that occur in your club, it's hard to keep your eye on the prize. And that's where we have to look at the long-term benefits of, even if it's going to take weeks and months to get the full benefit out of this activity, it is going to help people and it's going to make people happier and make their lives a little better and a little easier. This is also where I like to bring up the question of when did you become a Leo? This is a question I was asked in my first forum I went to. It was in New York in person, which was great. And it was the opening ceremony night. And we were asked, when did you actually become a Leo? Not when did you join Leo's club, but when did you start to really feel like a Leo? And at the time, I would never dare to speak in front of people, much less stand up and speak in front of people I didn't know. But for some reason, that night I was able to do it anyway. I was able to stand up and talk to an entire room about an event where I was just face painting, and how it was one of the easier events my club hosted. It was something that doesn't require a lot of people, doesn't require a lot of planning, but I had so much fun. I had so much fun face painting. I had so much fun talking to the lions there. I had so much fun staying late and cleaning up with my friends, just listening to music. And I just learned how much I could really have fun with community service. So if anyone has any stories about when they really became a Leo instead of just when they joined the club, I'd love to hear them. Anyone have anything to share? All right, well, I guess I have to use my bribery ahead of time here. For those of you that have already shared on the Zoom a story during the presentation, or would like to share now, you'll be getting an automatic 100 on my quiz at the end of the presentation. Anyone?
Okay, so I think when I first became a Leo is like when I was doing a trash pickup and this lady pulled over and she was just thanking like all of us, and then she gave us hot cocoa because it was like really cold. But I really liked that being recognized, I guess, and I think that's what made me want to do more of it.
No, that's a great example of just feeling like your community service is really making an impact. Is there anyone else that has an experience they want to share?
I think for me, I'm part of a Leo club that does orchestra performances at retirement homes and things like that. And even though our pieces aren't like technically difficult, they're just like pop songs or old songs. I really liked seeing how these people in the retirement homes would like clap and they would smile with so much joy, just like listening to music and being able to see it live. So I think that was the moment for me, like the first time someone was like, "You did amazing." Like I haven't heard music like that in years.
Thank you for sharing. That's a great story also, just seeing your impact on other people. Is there anyone else that has a story they want to share?
For me personally, I joined a Leo club when I was super young. So I feel like when I was younger, there was a part of me that was like, oh, I'm so tired. Like maybe I can skip this community service opportunity. And like sometimes I would like try to pull back, right? But I feel like one incident that really hit home was when I was like giving out gifts for underprivileged children. Just the look on the kids' faces, like it wasn't a look of happiness or of like just like a good feeling. It was a look of disbelief, as if they'd never gotten a gift in their life. And this was something that was so brand new to them. And I felt like that look was just so special. And I think that really motivated me to like continue giving and giving back to the community.
Thank you. That's a great example. Is there anyone else that would like to share?
For me, like one of our projects was like going to a street shelter and delivering like food and stuff and donated clothes to a shelter in Texas. And then like we saw like people keep on coming to us thanking us like for this, and one lady was crying. And that like hit me think like I'm like I was very proud for what I did. And yeah.
Thank you. That's very sweet and just such a good example. Okay, I'm going to move on now from this slide so we have some time to do questions. So that was the end of my formal presentation. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm now going to stop sharing the screen, and I'd like to know if you guys have any questions.
I don't have any questions, Melissa, but I would just like to say thank you for this presentation and the interaction. It was great. And I really enjoyed how you gave us your take on the opportunities and the impact we leave in our community and had us talking. It was really great. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Anyone else have any questions or comments or just stories you want to share?
I just want to say thank you. It's just like a great presentation, and just your energy and how you presented it was great, and how it was just a learning experience. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's great to hear. Anything else? Questions, comments? How about any feedback, anything to keep the next group involved?
Well, continue what you're doing. Personally, for me, the way you had us interacting and whatnot, maybe a little hint, maybe if it's so quiet, maybe just ask someone, because maybe sometimes someone may be shy, just randomly select someone on the list. From my experience of when I presented, I noticed when no one wants to speak, I randomly select a name, put them on the spot a little bit because maybe they want to, but maybe waiting to see if anybody else will go first. But honestly, it was a really straightforward presentation. I really enjoyed it. And I like how everyone shared their stories and experiences. One thing I would like to leave with everyone, I joined the Leos by someone referring the Leos to me, because I joined at a pretty late age, and it has been the best decision of my life. Honestly, the impact, as you mentioned, is something that you will never expect to get nowhere else. And it's amazing feeling to just see you, for example, and every other Leo and what they contribute. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I just got a notification that our breakout rooms are closing soon. I'm not completely sure why, but we'll find out. So I'm sending a link in the chat right now with a Google Forms with my quiz on it. If you did talk and answer a question during the presentation, I already have your name written down and you will be getting that automatic 100, but you do still have to take the quiz. That way you're accounted for. So everyone please open that up. Even if you run out of time while we're in the breakout room, as long as you click the link so it opens in another tab, you can always go back to the quiz. And it's not a very hard quiz. You'll all be fine. And thank you guys for being such a good audience and sharing so much about your experience in Leos and just your own personal stories. It always makes a much better presentation when I hear your other perspectives.
Thank you.